I want to thank Patrick Kennedy, who is not only, I consider, a great friend of mine, but a great friend of all free people every place, as the representative of the finest in U.S. political tradition. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for being here, and thank you for that kind introduction. I want to thank as well, of course, the sponsors of this meeting, the Iranian American community of Northern California, for calling us all together, as we have come together before, to express our views on the increasingly perilous fate of the residents of Ashraf and also the residents of a camp ironically named Liberty. As you know, about 2,000 residents have moved from Ashraf to Camp Liberty, and some 1,200 remain. And more convoys appear to be planned, notwithstanding that the Iraqi military, who are supposed to maintain the security of the residents, appear to have been conducting an ongoing campaign of harassment that seems designed to provoke a response that would be used to justify yet another round of violence by Iraqi troops, a campaign in the face of which the residents of Ashraf appear to have shown remarkable restraint. In a recent episode, although the Iraqis allowed water filtration equipment that was actually purchased by the residents to enter the camp, they have repeatedly blocked the entry of the sand and gravel that are necessary to act as a filtration medium so that that equipment can be used. And there's no explanation for that other than sheer gratuitous cruelty. Notwithstanding that, the residents have taken the initiative and announced that despite the disgraceful behavior of Iraqi authorities, an additional 400 residents of Camp Ashraf will relocate to Camp Liberty, and they are making ready to do that even as we speak here. But even this agreement to do what the State Department and the Iraqi government have claimed they want has been met with delay and obstruction. The Iraqi government, with no apparent criticism from us, has refused to take yes for an answer. The Iraqis have delayed the inspection of the residents and their possessions so as to delay the move. It's really time to end this charade, this process. The point of this move, of course, is to make it easier for the residents to be relocated outside Iraq. That's the goal, as we all know. And that goal cannot be achieved so long as the State Department continues to make the United States the only country in the civilized world to designate the MEK as a terrorist organization. Countries throughout the world find it easy to avoid taking any risk of taking refugees so long as the United States continues this designation with no justification. Although the State Department continues to insist that Ashraf residents control their own fate, their fate is controlled and their doom may very well be sealed by the department's designation of these residents as members of a foreign terrorist organization. Now, as you've heard, the State Department is looking at a deadline of October 1 to reconsider that decision. You may recall that during testimony on Capitol Hill last December, Secretary Clinton said how the MEK cooperated in the move from Camp Ashraf to Camp Liberty would have a bearing on how she came out on the question of whether MEK can be removed from the list. That statement seemed at the time, and frankly still seems, completely lawless because it's got nothing to do with standards under the statute. And the State Department has been challenged on that repeatedly. And I've tried to find something favorable to say about the way the State Department has responded in this instance, and I think I finally found it. That is that when they fail to live up to the best traditions of the United States, they do it badly. That's the most favorable thing you can say. And so they have recently leaked the idea that the relevance under the law of closing Camp Ashraf is that it was used as a location for unspecified paramilitary training. And so we have to close Camp Ashraf because it's a place where paramilitary training takes place. Now, of course, the State Department never made that claim before, and the reason is obvious. There's no basis to it. The claim is ridiculous for many reasons. It's hard to know where to begin. Let's start with the fact that the residents of Ashraf have not had access to weapons since they surrendered them in 2003, at the time of the U.S. invasion of Iraq, in return for a promise of protection under the Geneva Conventions. And then add to that the fact that on 2 occasions the residents of Camp Ashraf have been massacred by Iraqi troops, and we've seen tapes that have shown that they didn't even resist. This is a paramilitary organization. Add to that even the Iraqis knew that they were not dealing with any paramilitary organization because they didn't even wear body armor or helmets when they went into Ashraf. And finally, what paramilitary maneuvers or training can be carried out by the remnant of residents still remaining at Ashraf? Most of them, of course, have moved to Liberty. As I said a moment ago, it's time to end this. The continued listing of MEK is the main obstacle to resettlement, and the MEK has done all in its power to comply with even the irrelevant demand that Ashraf be closed. Enough is enough. And the timing could not be better for delisting. The negotiations over Iran's nuclear program have gone nowhere. All reports are that the regime is continuing and intensifying its efforts to obtain a nuclear weapon. There's no goodwill to be lost by delisting because there's no goodwill to start with. It would be particularly fitting to delist MEK when it was MEK that alerted the United States to the existence of an Iranian nuclear program in the first place, a fact that has repeatedly been acknowledged by members of the U.S. intelligence community. On the other hand, the mullahs face the real possibility that their principal ally in the Middle East, the barbaric regime of Bashar Assad in Syria, is facing imminent collapse. This would be an ideal time for the U.S. government simply to do the right thing and remove a listing that was always questionable and that even now is totally unexplained, so that the people of Ashraf and the people of MEK can be free to do what they have always wanted to do, which is to bring about regime change in Iran. On previous occasions, in both spoken remarks and in written communications, I haven't hesitated to urge MEK leaders and the residents of Ashraf and Liberty to be even more forthcoming and patient in the face of provocations and injustice than they had been before, so that they could be seen to be doing everything in their power to justify delisting, even on the irrelevant standard proposed by the State Department. But today, when they have already put their lives on the line yet again by trying to organize yet another convoy and have been frustrated in that effort, it is not time to urge further accommodation by the residents. It is time to urge common sense on the State Department. The 18th century philosopher Edmund Burke said that all that is necessary to assure the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. I think what we've come here to say today is that the people in this room and others do not intend to stand and do nothing. We have been heard, and we intend to continue to be heard until the residents of Ashraf and other members of MEK are free to help their countrymen remove the current regime and return their country to the glorious civilization that it once was. Thank you very much.